What's up, Clemson Nation? What's up, TTC? How have you guys been doing? It's been a while. I think it's about that time. It's about that time to start getting into the football again. You know, summer's when the anticipation really starts to ramp up. We're starting to move towards summer, so definitely that time. So I'm going to come up here with a video about the expectations I have for the football team this year and some other stuff about it. So we'll start off, obviously last year. Last year was supposed to be the year that was the build-up to this year, 2016's national title run. And what happened? Well, we made the national title game a year early. Came within a touchdown of being the defending national champions. And a game that I will not talk about. The national championship game was definitely the most painful game in my lifetime, without a doubt. Bittersweet seeing Clemson in the national championship and fighting so hard, but then obviously coming up short in the national championship game is going to be just brutal. Also gives a lot of motivation coming into this year, where we have this team. The expectations this year, realistically, are national title. That's just the way it is. The offense this year will be the best in college football. You look back at the national championship game, and we put up 40 points. Deshaun Watson, possibly the game of his life, probably the game of his life that game. That was without two of his three best receivers on the field. Okay, so that just tells you, how powerful this offense could be this year with Tyshawn Dye hopefully stepping up too in the backfield behind Wayne Gallman. A solid, very good recruiting class coming in to replace a lot on the defensive side of the ball. There shouldn't be too much of a drop-off defensively. And the offense, honestly, you have to have good defense. Clemson will have a top 15 defense this year again. It might not be top 10, but we'll have a top 15 defense. And the offense should be number one in the country, barring injuries. Honestly, I would say one loss would be the worst I would, accept as a good season this year. 10-2 would be very, very, very disappointing. You just look at this offense. It's absolutely loaded everywhere. We can hit you from so many different spots with a quarterback as dynamic as Deshaun Watson too. You really just have to pray for the defenses we're going to be playing this year. It's that simple. We look at the schedule this year. 3 big road games this year are going to be at Auburn, at Georgia Tech, at Florida State. See how improved Georgia Tech is. Auburn's always going to be hit or miss. They're the most inconsistent program in the nation, in my opinion. The home games that are going to be bigger are going to be Louisville, who's supposed to be solid this year. Pittsburgh's supposed to be pretty good this year, and then South Carolina, just because it's a rivalry game. I don't expect South Carolina to be in a bowl again this year. They do have an easier schedule than Clemson this year. Gamecock fans love talking about schedule stuff, so maybe they can squeak out 6 wins. So either way, Clemson will be winning that game. Clemson should continue to win at home this year and get the home winning streak up to, I think it'll be 23 straight after we win all 7 at home this year. And those road games, though, those are going to be tough. I fully expect us to go into Auburn and win by 2 touchdowns. It's the first game on the road in a hostile environment that's going to be very loud, and they're going to be hunting for something to turn around after last year's disappointing season. So it's definitely going to be tough, but I expect us, with a veteran offense, to be able to come out there. Venables is the defensive coordinator, be able to come out there and, win our 3rd straight against Auburn. That's all there is to it. Auburn should not be a team to beat us. That Georgia Tech game's just big because even if they aren't that great this year again, they were just straight up horrible last year. If they're bad again this year, regardless, Atlanta has been a curse for Clemson as far as Bobby Dodd Stadium goes. We have not won at Bobby Dodd since the 39-3 win in 2003, okay? It's been 12 years. It's been 13 years since we've won in Bobby Dodd. So that's a curse, that has to be broken. I honestly don't even understand it. It's a neutral site game every year. Clemson might put more fans in the stands than Georgia Tech. Yet somehow Georgia Tech has been able to squeeze away with victories every time. Most of them have been close. Ended our undefeated season there in 2011. 2014, the Deshaun Watson injury game. Cole Stout couldn't get anything going. It's been a curse playing at Abu Dhabi. Then, the big game, which should be the game of the year this year. Clemson versus Florida State. Game of the year not only in the ACC, but nationally. You look at this game, and the winner of this game has played in either the national championship or the playoffs for the last 3 years. National championship twice, playoffs both years we've had them so far. They've won the division the last 7 years straight, and the conference the last 5 years straight, with 3 for Florida State, 2 for Clemson. So, and then 4 for Florida State and 3 for Clemson as far as divisions go. So, it's just the game of the year. There's not a game out there that has bigger implications. 2 powerhouse teams that should be undefeated, honestly, by the time they meet. I fully expect Florida State to take care of Ole Miss. And us to take care of Auburn, and so I expect that to be an undefeated, possibly top 2, top 3 matchup in Tallahassee this year, and it's going to be a bloodbath. It is going to be an absolute fight to the finish. Both teams are absolutely loaded this year. Florida State is loaded this year. They returned so much. Another good recruiting class over there. It's definitely going to be, it should not only be the matchup of the year, but the game of the year. I expect there's a good chance that game will go into overtime, just like it did a couple of years ago. It's been a good game the last 3 years. That's going to determine the season. Just like every year, the Clemson-Florida State game will determine the season. You lose that game, mediocre year. You win that game, you can have an absolutely great or national championship year. You lose that game, you don't go to the ACC championship. It's that simple. That is the division championship game, and it's going to be that way for a while. That's just the way it's going to be. You get past Florida State, honestly, I think we cruise. Florida State's really, I mean, it's really just going to be the tougher one. We'll play Pitt at home after that, and then South Carolina and Pitt. But I don't expect us to even get close to losing at home this year. And 12-0, I expect that. I'd really, really, really love to play Ohio State or Alabama in the playoffs this year. Ohio State just because I hate them, and I'd love to play Georgia too. But let's be honest, Georgia's not. They're going to Georgia. Okay, Georgia's not going to do anything this year. They're the biggest underachieving program in college football. But I'd love to play Georgia or Ohio State or Alabama. Alabama's going to have an absolutely amazing defense this year, but I'd love another shot at them. They're the best. They're the program in college football right now. And beating the program in college football, Saban hasn't lost a national championship game. Beating him in a national championship game would be absolutely amazing. That's just the way there is to it. I mean, that's all there is to it. That's last year, if we could have beat Saban in the national championship, it would have made it so much sweeter. It would have just been, the ultimate cherry on top to a national championship, undefeated 15-0 year. But we came short. Obviously, the weak point this year, it's not going to be defense. It's going to be special teams. That's the thing I'm most worried about. That's what, honestly, in my opinion, lost us the national championship game. Onside recovery, kickoff return. It's tragic. Our special teams last year, to be a team making it to the national championship, was absolutely pathetic. So, if we want another run, special teams might come up clutch. We've got to learn to get the ball in the back of the end zone. It's that simple. It's been tragic. So, if there's anything that we need to work on a ton, it's going to be that. But yeah, overall, guys, it should be a national championship run. I mean, there's no other excuse. This is the year that we've been building towards for a national championship run, and getting to the national championship last year just adds fuel to the fire. I know this team wants to get there so bad. That's all there is to it. National championship or bust. So what do you guys think? Expectations for Clemson or your team in general? Go Tigers.